Hey everybody, it's Sarah again. I'm back today to do a painting for the band Silverstein, as you can see on my shirt. I actually got this shirt when I went down to see Silverstein with Luke this past November in Boston, and it was a really great show. And yeah, not only that, Silverstein has been such an influential band to me throughout growing up, and almost even more so in my adulthood. I don't want to say I have a favorite band, but if I did, I guess you could say it would be Silverstein. Yeah, so not only do I love their music, I love their album art. I'd say two of the most popular would be When Broken is Easily Fixed and Discovering the Waterfront. It was tough to choose between the two. I decided to focus on When Broken is Easily Fixed, which I think a lot of people are familiar with that piece. It's a robot holding its heart. And yeah, I bought a bigger canvas for this one, so it might take a little bit more time, but it should be fun to paint, and hopefully it comes out half decent, so feel free to tag along.
Okay, so When Broken is Easily Fixed. I wanted to start off with a quote from not only the album, but also the song title of the same name, which is, "So ironic that a heart made by man, when broken, is easily fixed, but a human hurt can last a lifetime." Many Silverstein fans will probably know that lyric by heart, no pun intended, but it also goes without saying that this same quote is what helped to inspire the album art, which was created by Martin Wittfooth, who at the time was an art student and friend of the band. And interestingly enough, he got this on the first try. I guess they kind of described it, and he made this piece, showed it to them, and they didn't want any changes made. So they took it just as it was the first time. And I just love when people are able to communicate like that. And, you know, it's as easy as that. So Silverstein, they're a band from Ontario that formed around the year 2000. In case anyone is wondering, yes, their name comes from Shel Silverstein, the author, which inspired them as kids growing up. And, I mean, who didn't he inspire? Personally, I started listening around the same time to Silverstein when I was turning, I want to say around 15, and I had heard arguably their most popular song, "Smile in Your Sleep," play on TV, and I loved the eeriness of the shots in this video, which was filmed similar to an old-fashioned murder mystery or whodunit sort of vibe, and the whole video is just really artistic and captivating. No matter how many times I watched it, it truly gives that feeling of like a lingering paranoia, or that impending feeling of something being wrong and not being able to place it, and like a horrible revelation of some sort. And yeah, the video just really captivates that so well, along with the lyrics of the song. So around the same time, excuse me, another popular song was My Heroine, which really resonated with me when it was airing, as I spent several months myself in a rehab facility very far away from where I lived as a 15-year-old. Following my first serious breakup, which, you know, there was a lot of bad stuff with that, you know, on the topic of infidelity or addiction and just all the messy stuff. But the whole intervention process was, you know, done by a stranger in the middle of the night who woke me up in my bed, and I don't even think I had pants on at the time. I was like wearing underwear, and I was scared out of my mind. I don't know. It's kind of messed up, but yeah, I flew to a different part of the country, and that was that for a couple of months. But I was really depressed and angry, and I did not trust anyone. And I'd lost a lot of friends, or rather people who I thought were my friends around that time. And I was failing in school and had to work extremely hard just to get back to the lowest level of normalcy, whatever that means. However, between rumors and how high schoolers treat each other, I was bullied pretty bad by the time I came back. So people like throwing gum in my hair and saying I would sleep with people for substances and telling me to go unalive myself in the bathroom, among other things. And needless to say, I was facing a lot of isolation and anxiety around all that happening. And I had to see people every day who I wanted nothing more than to avoid. I was essentially seen as like the gross, weird girl, and I just felt really bad. So my home life didn't really improve after that, and never really did. So I had to learn how to cope, and because of that, drawing and music became even more important and central to my life. Now, of course, I have many connections and emotions towards bands of this era, but Silverstein really gave me something to hang on to when I truly felt I had nothing. People always say that it's overly dramatic to say that a band saves your life or something, but they definitely kept me hanging on and arguably have changed my outlook and, willpower, and because of the rawness of their lyrics. For example, I could use Ides of March. I will never recover from this. I will never believe in this again. And I can never go back to the way I used to be before this started. The snow won't go away. My nose runs down my face. No one sees me here. It doesn't even matter. And every step I take, I stay in the same place. I can't begin to start again. Why can't I just be perfect? Which really talks about how it feels when something changes forever. It can never be put back to the way it was. Like very deep betrayal or a loss of innocence. So I also really love the vocal style of frontman Shane Told, and I always joke that I wish I could be a female version of him, as I find it so impressive that even singing live, he can switch from the most brutal sounding screams to a really perfectly pitched line of more melodic singing. And he has quite a voice, and through interviews I've watched, he talks a lot about how he taught himself all these techniques, usually parked in a car or in a field somewhere. And there's some humor in that, because just finding places to practice screaming without having the police called on you or something is kind of tricky, so I kind of laughed. But yeah, and also their guitar riffs, which tend to be super fast-paced and intense. I can see a lot of that inspired from a lot of the 80s metal that they were listening to when they were growing up themselves, and I too used to be a fan of bands like Iron Maiden, so I definitely hear the influence. Or they can play soft and rhythmic music that is gentle and vulnerable, like when they do acoustic versions of some of their music. But even beyond the actual instrumental aspects are the lyrics, which never fail to impress me, inspire me. Take, for example, their song Massachusetts, which is about trying to leave an abusive relationship. A lot of people don't understand why it's hard to leave if they haven't lived through it themselves. And when everyone around is watching someone slowly drown, unfortunately, more often than not, many outsiders end up blaming the victim instead of trying to offer support, which further isolates said person. And countless people, in this case we're referring to women, but men too, including myself, can relate to this song. And I think it's really heartwarming to me that Silverstein has touched on topics such as that to help give others a little strength and understanding of why it's so hard to escape from this perspective. I also believe that, music should be used to help educate and stand up for people in desperate and complex situations such as domestic violence. And as a side note, I also really appreciate Red Jumpsuit Apparatus's take on DV with their song Face Down as well. I just really feel seen and heard to hear other men speak up. You get the power to air your music on the radio, and you could do whatever you want, and you could say whatever you want, but in this case, it's men speaking up about the bad ones and get protection through their words. But moving on from that subject, other lyrics from songs like Smashed into Pieces talks about destroying what you create, smash apart what you created. While lyrics from songs such as Call It Karma have lyrics like, it isn't fate that took us all by storm, it's just the turn of a card, are super clever and, great use of metaphors to me. And the fast-paced and intense nature of songs like Your Sword versus My Dagger always gets me energized up and, ready to take on whatever's bringing me down, or rather I should say, when something's making me really angry. And Bad Habits rings true for me when I feel weak and I don't do my best coping in moments of darkness and anxiety. And lastly, a song like Afterglow makes me feel hugely nostalgic and want to, just be outside in the sunshine, and it's a bit more lighthearted in melody and even a little bit romantic. But just their album title names and the art, including When Broken is Easily Fixed, are so beautiful to me. Album titles such as Discovering the Waterfront, This Is How the Wind Shifts, Misery Made Me, Dead Reflection, and I Am Alive in Everything I Touch are all thoughtfully titled, and there's so many great songs, and I wouldn't have time to speak about them all. And to be honest, I'm even having trouble deciding what to speak about now, but I was excited to see Silverstein for the first time this past November in Brooklyn with Luke, and we had such a great time. Luke even caught a guitar pick, which we have safely taped into a scrapbook we have. The crowd was also really kind-spirited, really positive. Even when someone had accidentally gotten hurt right when Silverstein was opening, Shane essentially, shut everything off for a second immediately and addressed it right away. And everyone in the pit helped get the guy up who got hurt and get him help. So yeah, the performance was really spot on, and I could see that everyone was having a really good time, really good energy. So we stayed up until probably 3 or 4 in the morning when we got back to the hotel, and ultimately we just share a really awesome memory of that night, which I know I won't ever forget. So yeah, of course we are due to see Silverstein again with the upcoming When We Were Young tour in Las Vegas in October, which if you watch our channel, you'll have seen we did kind of a tier list of what bands we're excited to see, if you want to check that out. But yeah, I really can't emphasize enough how enthralled and overjoyed I am to go. They're going to be playing the Discovering the Waterfront album, and I'm so psyched to see them play this live, let alone all the other bands in the lineup. And I'm sure the energy will be even greater, and I think it's safe to bet that even the bands that are performing are going to be, I would hope, at least excited and have a blast with, how many groups are going on and just the whole idea of the event. So anyhow, it looks like I'm getting to the end of this video here. So this is my interpretation of When Broken is Easily Fixed in oil on a 30 by 40 inch canvas. And I had to do a little improvising there because on the album cover, actually, it ends, the robot's waist ends a little higher up. So I kind of had to do some guesswork and imagine what it might have looked like if you were to uncrop that canvas a little bit. So hopefully it looks half decent, but I was really happy to take out my oil paints again. It's been a while since I've had the time, resources, and space to use them. So I'm super happy about that. And yeah, I'm curious if this robot has a name, but maybe there's a mystery around that. But I know it's kind of like a metaphor for us all. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I had a lot of fun making this painting. It's been hanging in my room, so don't forget to hit like or subscribe, and keep an eye out for my now recently opened Etsy shop. So I have a lot of custom band t-shirts, like from the Hawthorne Heights painting and Say Anything painting. So they're kind of unique in that way, because it's not just a t-shirt of, you know, say a band album cover or something. It's, you know, from me, so super unique. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so take some time to listen to some Silverstein if you get a chance. I say I listen to them, I want to say, on a weekly basis, and I have for a long time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great week. Until the next time.